This is the ultimate Weapon X storage vehicle in LEGO Fortnite. Air, land, and sea capabilities on this vehicle with 11 grand chests. If you're liking the themed vehicle series or you're liking my content in general, don't forget to hit that like button and let's get right into the video. I want to quick show you the pieces that we're going to be using for this survival craft. We're going to use the Weapon X drone, one of the Weapon X beds, a variety of the counters, so the coffee table, the regular counter, and the corner counter. We're also going to be using these two Weapon X lights, as well as some frost pine and rustic or sugi flooring. So we're going to be using the 6x2, 8x2, and 16x2 of the wood flooring. And then of the frost pine, we're using this big 8x16, or you can use four 16x2s. And then we're using a 4x4, a 12x2, and a 6x2. We're also using an umber wall, just a half wall, as well as activated and regular balloons. You're gonna need yourself a power center. We're also using large tires and large thrusters for forward and turning momentum. And thank goodness it stopped raining, so now we can actually get started on crafting this vehicle. And as always, we start off with a car jack. Grab the 16x8 Shogun Palace floor, or you can do those 16x2s and just do 4 of them. We're gonna slap that in the middle of the car jack, and then you can build it either way here. I'm gonna put another one on the back just like that. On one end, we're actually gonna take 4x4s and we're gonna add just a little bit on to that. This is gonna be our front. So on the back, we're gonna be putting in those corner counters. All you need to do is place a thruster in the middle of your object here. Grab that Weapon X counter corner, and we're gonna point our cursor at the end of the thruster here, nudging it over all the way to the end like this. It should make an L going in. So if that's your front, your counter should look like this. Now you're also going to want to make sure that this is one stud hanging underneath. So I'm going to go ahead and redo this one on this side real quick. Let's get rid of our thrusters here on the side. We now want to grab the Weapon X counter, not the credenza or the coffee table, the counter. We won't have to use any thrusters for this. We can actually just point it at the counter we've already placed and nudge it over. We're going to be placing 2 of these on each side. On the insides, take a 4x4 ancient thin floor, and you're going to point it at the back of those tables, placing 4 of them just like this. This is going to allow us to get the Weapon X coffee table on. We want to go to the very front one, and we want to do those first. So we're going to nudge it up until it's even, and then we're going to line it up on the back side here. There should be a gap opening right here, 2 studs long. In between, go ahead and throw any half wall that you might have. I'm gonna use just the regular umber half wall. And to go with that color, we are going to be using the sugi thin floor as the roof. So I'm gonna snap it so it's even in the middle of the post, just like that. I'm gonna go to the outside. I'm gonna nudge it even like this, and I'm gonna move it over until it is sitting almost on top of that coffee table. This is gonna act as our roof. We're just gonna fill those in up top like that. So where the back of the vehicle is, you're actually gonna have a bed here. So what we wanna do is create a roof that reaches over so that the rain doesn't affect us. I'm gonna go in and grab that bed. I'm using the Weapon X single bed, and I'm gonna make it flush with the end of the vehicle, just like this. Now we wanna take 4x4 frost pine floors, and you want to point them at those pieces that are already sideways and just nudge it over like this. We're going to place 1, and then we're actually going to leave some room here, lining it up with the end of the counter, because this is where we're going to put our vehicle lights. Next, let's take those large steerable tires, and on those 4x4s, we're going to nudge it to the front bottom corner. And on the back, right next to where it goes black right here, we're actually going to place the regular powered wheels. Make sure that the one side is facing the right direction. We can go ahead and add in some of the thrusters. So I'm going to have one right in the middle here, nudged up on the bed a little bit. And then I'm going to have one right beside it, hanging a little bit lower on both sides. On this backside L counter, we're going to place a large thruster like this. And on the other side, and on the back side, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to throw some floor pieces like that just to cover it up. Let's go back to that Weapon X counter, the one that is an L, and we are going to nudge this towards the front, making sure that the L shape is pointing inwards like you see here. And we're gonna have it nudged as close to the frostpine floor as we can, making sure that the bottom is also flush. Then we can fit on our Weapon X drones. On the very front, we're actually gonna have 2 more thrusters. So just like this, there's only one spot that this is gonna let you put in because of the drone. If you want to adjust all of your turning thruster channels now, go ahead. So this one for me is channel 1, and then they just alternate all the way around. We're gonna throw a chest on the front. This is gonna be for personal items. This is also gonna be the start of us putting on all the storage. So on each side, there should be room for 4 chests. Put them on those counters, just like this. And when you're done, you should have 8, but we're technically not done because we're gonna put a coffee table right here, and then we're gonna move another one, 1, 2, 3, 4 studs away. We're gonna place a second one, putting a chest facing both directions on top of those coffee tables. Behind that, add your large power center. You're gonna need that to be able to drive, so just slide it up behind that back chest. Up top here, we need to build a spot for our steering wheel. So we're taking a floor and we're going 1 stud inside of these sideways frostpine floors. And then we're just gonna start making some steps here, going 1, 2, and then another one high, and then we'll actually level it out like this. On top, we're gonna place that steering wheel. Now we can add in some lights. So we're gonna take the Weapon X lamp, and there's not many spots you can squeeze this in, but if you look closely in here, there's a couple spots where you can squeeze some lights in. I'm gonna take the Weapon X ceiling light, and on both sides underneath this hood here, on both sides, we're gonna be placing these lamps, giving us some good lighting on the inside while also not ruining our walk space. You should be able to get in and out of your bed easily without it being glitchy. Now that that's all out of the way, we've got 10 chests of storage with 1 personal chest on the front for weapons and other stuff. We've got all our thrusters adjusted and all the decor in. So now it's just time for those balloons. Up top, in between the chests, it doesn't really matter which stud you place it on. I'm just gonna place it right there, but we're going with 2 regular balloons. I always like to do this, especially if I've got the weight right, because it reduces the fall speed. Let's go ahead and add activated balloons now to get this thing in the air. So we're gonna put 2 behind the driver's seat. We're gonna put a large activated balloon in between the chests here. We're gonna have 2 activated balloons on the edges up front, and then 4 in the back. So we're gonna place 1, then we're gonna go 1, 2, we're gonna place a second one and do the same thing. Underneath, we actually wanna add some more lights. This is gonna be our final step. So take your Weapon X ceiling light and just put it evenly on both sides like this. Also do that in the front. One last change before we actually drop the jack. These drones are looking a little too low. It looks like they might clip underneath the tire. So just to make sure, I'm gonna nudge it up a little bit more. I'm gonna actually put it even with the L counter here. And now that I've done that to both sides, we're ready to drop the jack and go on a test run. So first we'll activate the balloons and check the lift. It should be almost dead even. You shouldn't see this thing tilt any direction. We can activate our thrusters to turn. And the vehicle gets some pretty good height. So if we need to avoid some mobs, maybe there's a golem nearby, maybe the Colombo is on a rampage, go ahead and take your vehicle to the sky and get it out of the way. And like I said, 2 balloons to create that beautiful drop. So when I deactivate my balloons, I don't crash to the ground. I come down slowly, and then we're ready to drive around. When I'm ready to take off again, we just activate those balloons, and we're on our way. You should be able to get off of this thing while it's still moving in the air. So if you're high in the sky and you want to go to sleep at night, you can go ahead and do that. This vehicle also works fairly decent in the water. So we're gonna drive down to the beach and we're gonna head on in, and you'll see the front end actually stays out of the water. So if for some reason you're tired of the sky and you just wanna be in the water a little bit, you can go ahead and do that. When you're ready to get out of the water again, we just activate those balloons and we head on our way. It's really hard to say that each and every vehicle that I make isn't one of my favorites. I have an absolute blast making every single one of them. But the one thing that they have in common is that they all use specific decor pieces. The series has been super fun, and with all the new pieces, there's just so many more vehicles to get to. I hope you found this video useful, and I hope you go ahead and use this survival vehicle in your world. Let me know how it works for you, or let me know how you modified the vehicle to better suit your own needs. The Weapon X Ultimate Storage Aircraft. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Take it easy, everybody, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh yeah, YouTube thinks you're gonna like this video, so consider clicking on it. Peace out, guys.